Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical updates. It is Wednesday, the 8th of April. This video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. So this video is about commodities, and let's start with the oil market that I would say, of course, tanking this morning since there's a ceasefire in the Middle East. So not everybody's happy, but most people are happy. Sending down the crude oil below the minor support here at 96.50. Could send it further down to the 85 area, 84.37 support. We can add a Fibonacci to this uptrend here and see where we're trading. We dipped down to the 786 retracement there at 91.49, and then it bounced back. Buyers came back in. RSI was already showing uptrend exhaustion, but it was still in a positive sentiment, indicating we could see higher levels, but it never took out the previous peak there, activating higher levels. So now we are sitting back here. I think we'll see a little bit of volatility also today, with maybe some announcements coming out, and things can easily change. But if it takes out the lows from today here at this morning here at 91.05, well, then we could be looking at this support down here. Brent crude oil obviously also lower, actually opened much lower here this morning around the support at 95 there, and could push lower in the coming hours. So let's see, where could we push it to? Well, there is potential down to these areas here in the 85, 83, 50, but let's see. Again, things can change easily, and if it closes back above 95, well, then we are still in an elevated state. I wouldn't be surprised to play out, because there would still be a lot of nervousness going on here in the market. But as we can see here, over this conflict, the 119.50 wasn't taken out, couldn't push above 120, so that was a strong signal that there was some really strong interest up there. On the other hand, if it took it out, then it would have pushed much higher, but that didn't materialize. But gap down here, if it closes this gap here over the next few days, which probably won't do, but again, if it does, well, then we have a new situation where it could push higher. But let's see. I think if it takes out the lows here as we speak at 91.70, well, then it could slide down to around the 85 level. Dutch gas hasn't just opened yet, or European NatGas. I would expect it to open much lower, possibly down around 43 euros there, where we have some support, possibly a lower pushing here. So that is just to illustrate which support to look out for. We have a little bit of support there before this gap area there at 37.96, just above, just around 38. That could also be tested. The US NatGas, well, it just keeps sliding lower. It hasn't really been affected of this, and I think the 260 is still in the card. Moving on to the metals market, because there's also been quite a volatility overnight, obviously. And we have the gold pushing above the 61.8 retracement there at 4,800, testing resistance there at 48.40, could push higher. It could push up to the lower part of cloud and the 55 moving average, possibly spiking up to 5,000 here the next few days. Let's see. If it's being rejected, sliding back below 46.58, well, then the downtrend is back in session. But for now, it seems we are pushing higher here. Also, what is key will be what will happen here at RSI 60. The silver also crawling a little bit higher here towards the 61.8 retracement at 78.90. I think it could be tested here quite shortly, possibly pushing up to the 786 retracement there at 83.79, but then we have the 55 moving average coming down here, kind of putting a lid on it, and could send it back down again. But for now, it is establishing a short-term bullish trend, it seems, so that could push it up there. But if it slides back here, then it could slide back even further. The platinum is being lifted also above its resistance there, just around 2,000, and could push higher up towards the 2169. Will it get all the way up there? It's debatable. We have the 55 moving average coming down there, kind of putting a lid on it. The copper has also kept climbing here overnight from this rising trend line. It tested a couple of times, so also short term a little bit of an uptrend there. We can add a Fibonacci to it just of this sell-off there and see if we can get some ideas. We're currently trading just above the 61.8 retracement and the 786 retracement there at 580.88, just around the 55 moving average. I think it will be knocked back down a little bit at that level. Let's just have a quick look at the US 10-year Treasury yield. Should have been with the FX market, but nevertheless, let's just have a look at here. It also was sent back here this morning, taking out the little support there, currently around the 425 and the 38.2 retracement of this uptrend here. It could be sent further back, but I think we will see a little bit of a bounce. But if it takes it out, well, then the next support area here around 418, where we have the 100 moving average coming up and we have the 200, and that will be a much stronger support to break. All right, that's all for the commodities world today. Have a nice day and keep charting out there.